There was a time when Sarah sat at her kitchen table, bills scattered everywhere, her head in her hands. She whispered to God, saying she no longer knew which way to turn. Every door seemed closed, and her hope was fading. Yet, with trembling faith, she prayed, "Lord, I need guidance. I cannot see the path forward. Please, show me what to do." Later that very day, her phone rang. It was her cousin Mike, someone she hadn't spoken to in a long time. He explained that something had nudged him to call. As Sarah shared her struggles, Mike told her about a job opening at his company and offered to put in a word for her. In that moment, Sarah's tears weren't of despair anymore, but of relief. She realized God had heard her guidance came not through thunder or lightning, but through a simple phone call. That night, she prayed again, this time with gratitude. She understood that God's answers don't always arrive dramatically. Sometimes they come quietly, through people who care, through unexpected doors that open when we stop forcing our own way. Months later, Sarah's life looked different. Her bills were paid, her home felt lighter, and then the phone rang again. This time it was a woman named Jennifer, a friend of her cousin Mike. Jennifer was going through her own hardships and needed someone to talk to. Sarah smiled as she offered to listen. She realized that sometimes the best way to receive guidance is to become guidance for someone else. Eventually, Sarah shared her testimony with her church. She told them how she once prayed for a booming voice from heaven, but instead received people who showed up at just the right moment. She reminded them that God's guidance often comes in unexpected forms and that the Lord may not always remove our problems, but He always walks with us through them. But guidance is not a single moment. It is a journey. When Sarah later faced rejection from a job promotion, she wondered if God had stopped listening. Yet wisdom arrived again, this time through her elderly neighbor, Mrs. Chen, who reminded her that rivers don't always flow where we want them to, but they always flow where they need to. Sarah realized that her path was still unfolding. Soon after, she began volunteering at a community center, helping others apply for jobs. There she discovered her own gift for teaching and encouraging people. One day, the director approached her with an offer to coordinate their job training program. It wasn't the path Sarah once imagined, but it was exactly where God had been guiding her. Over time, Sarah saw the fruit of her obedience. She mentored people like Maria, a young mother who found meaningful work, and Jennifer, who leaned on her during seasons of grief. She even comforted new volunteers like David, who was struggling after losing his job. To each of them, she passed on what she had learned, that guidance often comes disguised as service, and that God sometimes redirects us, not to punish us, but to reveal our purpose. 1 year later, Sarah stood before a large congregation. She told them how divine guidance multiplies, how God's help doesn't end with us, but flows through us to others, creating a chain reaction of hope. She reminded them that sometimes the very person God is shaping us into is the answer to the prayer we once prayed. Sarah's journey had come full circle. From desperation at her kitchen table to becoming a light for countless others, she discovered that divine guidance is not about getting everything we want, but about becoming the vessel God can use. And so she prayed with her community, giving thanks for a God who answers through ordinary moments, through people who care, and through the quiet, steady river of His plan.